Okay, so let's go inside the presentation. Let me start. Okay,
Yes.
full screen now. All right, perfect. So I'd like to keep the initial part as a conversation and then quickly diverge to more specific details. So what comes to your mind? And you can put it in the chat. I'll keep an eye on the chat. What comes to your mind when you guys all think about AI? What comes to your mind? I'm just also trying to get some insights from you all. What comes to your mind when you think of AI? First thing in your mind, top of your mind. Anything that comes to top of your mind, kindly put it in the chat.
AI can also be thought as augmented intelligence.
Okay. Okay, that comes to your mind
We
first.
have natural intelligence bestowed to us, and with our efforts, we have developed a lot of augmented intelligence.
Very nice.
That's why I think artificial intelligence may not be the right word. We should call it augmented intelligence because
Very
it's
nice.
not artificial.
Okay, very nice. Very well explained, actually. What else? What are the things on your top of your mind? All right, I see predictability, automatic answers, instant help, future, new industry revolution, deep automated analytics, fast, co-pilot. Wow, okay. All right. I think ability to analyze large sets of data, insights, cellular automata. Very nice. Okay, right. And cognitive intelligence. Very good. So thank you for that. Keep putting in more information as the class moves on. Now, here are some myths of AI. You can see the Bigfoot there, right? Some of the myths of AI, it's like a black box. Like you put in a prompt into a chat GPT and then, God knows what happens beyond that, or if you're trying to develop it for your own organization, the feeling that it's like a black box, it will start learning itself, everything. You just have to come, let's say, AI works here and automatically, magically, everything happens. Second concept is that this is for very large organizations who can afford it. Very large amounts of data are required to even get started or do anything with it. Or the most common pieces are, only PhDs can do it. Or anybody with advanced knowledge if you did not do your assignments in mathematics in your life, then you can't do this. It's not the thing to think about. Not safe. It's very, completely not safe. Does it mean that we have to be more ethical and careful? Answer is yes, we'll talk about it. But is it safe to use at all? For example, when the cloud technology came in, nobody used to store their data in the cloud. If you remember those initial days, we used to carry those jump drives, hard drives, and all those things. And if you go to Best Buy these days, you will see that you will not be even able to find some. The hard drives, even if I have a hard drive, one day it corrupts. And people start to slowly getting used to it, right? Then the sixth one. How many of you think that the sixth one? Have you heard it at least that it's going to kill jobs? It's going to replace Scrum Masters. It's going to replace product owners. Would I have a place in the world now? Have you guys heard it? I would like to hear from you all. You can put it in the chat. Have you at least heard about these things? Are you hearing these things at all? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So I have a news for you all, right? I'm heard it, completely believe it. Very fair enough, right? So I'm going to a little bit set you up for success because in this class. Now here is something that you need to know. So the whole presentation, it's a very short presentation. I believe in smaller content because obviously we have 2 days of a course to go much more detailed. But I want to set you up for success in your journey. See, the main thing is you need to understand anything that comes in the marketplace. How does this impact me? How does that impact my life? How can it impact? You need to put yourself in perspective of what's going on. And this is the famous Gartner's hype cycle. I really like to use this in many places. And if you see, there is a peak. Initially, a new thought comes in, and this part is where, let me draw it for you all. This part is where many people, don't talk too much about it because it's quite possible it can drop off. It's not like artificial intelligence just came in like 1 year back. I have been doing data science since when I did my master's or my PhD, just 25 years back, really. And then it became suddenly hyped right now. Right now, this is where we are. And then slowly what will happen? The hype will slowly drop down because my dad used to say when electricity just came in, in this village, when he was growing up, it was a big deal. Today, when there is no electricity, you know what the first symptom for me is that I know what will happen? My kids complain. You know why? Because they can't be in their iPad. That's what the symptom is right now. It's assumed, it's a given. It's a given that electricity is like hair. So some things start failing to meet the hype, and then slowly you will start seeing the value proportion. And then nobody talks about it because it's just regular life. That's what it is. Now, this is a diagram as it applies to artificial intelligence. And you see that red box there. That's where, there is this piece in the world right now. Suddenly, somebody put a powerful tool like ChatGPT in your hands. So people are like, what I used to take like 4 weeks, 5 weeks, I can just ask a question and then it just gives to me in a second. So people started talking about it. And the boom is such that, so now moving forward, now this is, if you are a little bit ahead of the curve, then you can do very well for yourself. But this is the right spot for you to make maximum value for yourself, your organization. And then it's just going to become regular business. You like it or not, it's just going to become regular business. And this is science. This is science. And you can very clearly see it in the earning reports of NVIDIA, because it needs cloud computing power. It needs many things. It's cloud plus data plus many things. And you will see that boom. And then slowly it will normalize, particularly these days. It's something closely to watch out for, right? Now, why are we even talking about this, right? And what is in it for us? As I said, you look at this data statistics, right? Only, if you look at this, only 9% of the organization has strategically implemented. Guess what? Okay, I'm working with many leaders across the world. Now, everybody's first topic in the board of director meetings, doesn't matter it's a finance industry, doesn't matter it's a hardware industry, doesn't matter chips, doesn't matter defense, are we using AI? Are we using AI? And I have people to even write a blank check. If you say anything, at one point in time, it used to be InfoSec. You tell them that, man, this is important. This even today, InfoSec is critical. And everything is critical as it applies to AI as well, because these two are all interrelated. Governance is very key. You get everybody's ears. Right now, earnings call, just go to any earnings call. People, I can count the number of terms people are saying AI, and it's in everybody's mind, which means there is opportunities for everybody in this call. That's why you're here. What is in it for me? What can I do differently in my life today that I can make more value for myself, my family? Yeah, then the company and everybody, the whole nation would be fine, right? It starts with us. That's what we control. What we control is you and me. Now, what is this artificial intelligence? Let me give you a small definition. And this is a story I tell in classes. See, true fact, when my son was born, his name is Zach. When he was born, I went to pick him up. I was there inside, actually, when he was born. So they gave him to me. And just like any child, he will cry and everything. But if you come and pick him up, or anybody comes picking up in the first week, he will go to, because in his brain, there's no data. It's just, my face is just one data point initially in his brain. So if I pick it up, or anybody from my team pick it up, you pick it up, he's going to go. Slowly, month 1, month 2, month 3, you slowly see that I'm picking him more, and his data points in his mind is beginning to form patterns. And it's trying to say, hey, it looks like this guy is familiar. And he starts remembering him more and more and more. And then at some point, what happens, if you guys come and pick him up, at some point, he will cry. And they call it stranger anxiety or something. And sometimes they say it's a good thing. We know that the child is beginning to think in the right angle, because his brain is forming patterns and algorithms in his mind. So brain is nothing but a collection of data, and some of them, and there is other things, right? The chemicals which connects the various data points. Some people are plastic enough, God has blessed enough, and some people are not. And I have, worked with many people who are not blessed in that angle. And I have in my life, I have a mission in my life to help people who are not that blessed. So if God has blessed us, then enough, we should take advantage of it. And that's not doing that is a sin personally. And that's how it is. So now what happened? What people were always thinking, why can't this be replicated in regular life? Now, then what happened? 3 weeks back, I booked a drive for my family in San Francisco. And in San Francisco, there is a company which gives self-driving cars. You order, you book it, you go there. There is no driver. And it's not even like somebody saying, no, I will not touch it, nothing. A random car comes and picks you up. There's nobody in the front seat. And then he took us and he dropped us. It was like a tour for us at this point. Now, the problem is, right, it's human lives we are talking about. 4 of us were in the car and it was smart enough to take us to a ride. If we can, at this point in life, trust human lives with it, what we are talking about right now in this particular webinar is doing agile related stuff. What? Story point estimation. That is like a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. Human lives are in the hands of AI at this point. So whatever we are trying to do, it should be very easily replicated. Is not even, it's just common sense at this point. And I'm just trying to put you at ease slowly, right? Now, the other problem is people are always saying, okay, fine. Let me say, if I want to do artificial intelligence, where should I even start? Is it just going to magically happen? Yeah, there are people who have built some APIs and algorithms and stuff. You want to do some, you want to pass a prompt and then it comes back and you can have these APIs. You can use that so you don't have to start from scratch. But not understanding data science, you will not be able to do many things. You need to know, you need to talk in terms of data. And this was always there. I always have a joke in my classes that leaders like metrics, even if it's made up. And anybody who talks only in terms of data always stands out. It has been there all through my life. I've seen people who put a number at the end of any sentence, they always do well. So without data science, I'm just trying to, in this webinar, try to help you all differentiate or understand the difference between artificial intelligence, data science, and machine learning. And I would like to then ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question shortly, right after. So I talked to you a little bit about artificial intelligence, right? It's about, pretty much like one of you all said in this webinar, is it augmentative? Is it artificial? Is intelligence, and there is artificial intelligence, and anything and everything at this point is in play. And there are multiple types of artificial intelligences, which we'll talk more in our courses, but within the time box, I also want to see if I can find time for a small demo. So the second thing is data science, which means you need to know what is data, how to deal with it, and everything else. So let me give a little bit more deep dive on it. And this is standard. This has been there in the industry forever. These are standard things to understand data. For example, but these are all the various steps: pre-processing data, understand what it is. Where do you even get the data from? Is it from what tool, what place? Is it just magically going to appear? And there is certain things to understand. Now, let me start slowly talking as it applies to the agile world. That's why we are all here, right? What does it mean for this audience as it applies to, we talked about artificial intelligence, data science, and I'm going to go to machine learning, the third part, okay? Now, here is a diagram. For example, what you see here is a picture, a very simplistic picture of trying to understand the data points, okay? Now, this is just not limited to this. This is, you take it, we call it as feature engineering, a part of data science or a subset of data science. You first need to even know what are the elements should I even consider. And obviously, if you are trying to look at a team or a art or an enterprise in terms of making things done faster, which is maybe time to market or maybe business value, now you have to left shift everything, right? You have to left shift many things because we are in the business of productivity. Yes or no? This whole agile thing is about productivity, making things whatever we do, business or IT, agility, doesn't matter. We just want to do things faster, value to the, doesn't matter what product you're building or what service you're building, for profit or non-profit, everybody is delivering some value. And we just want to make things faster. Doesn't matter it is business or IT related stuff. So here is a sample size of certain things to consider, while doing feature engineering to do data science. But if you think that this is all it is, it's not. It's a little bit more complicated than this. And it's not only limited to these parameters, which I called it as headwinds and tailwinds, right? When you fly in an airplane, you'll always see that, for example, when you're flying from Pacific time zone towards like Singapore or India, you will see that it takes a little bit more time, I guess. And when you come back, you will see you saves a little bit more time because of headwinds and tailwinds and the earth spin and all that. I don't know if you all noticed. One direction is always shorter than the other, though you're just going from point A to point B. You might have noticed that for you all. So the problem is it's more like this. It is not a very straightforward point where you just identify like 80 variables and then start making sense out of it. If you are going to try to make sense out of it with just those things, I'm sure you all do reports. Please tell me and give me a yes in your chat box if you're all doing reports. We all do reports. We all take a data point and look at it, yes or no. We all say at this point in our career, if you have not done a report, it's something wrong. But the problem is, as it applies to intelligence, there is correlation, causation, and many things. All of these things talk to each other. For example, if a team is not cross-functional, does it have any relation with the flow time? Or maybe if the intake mechanism is super bad, for example, if intake sucks, execution is going to be bad as well. There's no point then putting the gun on execution and trying to make things better. So all of these things are tying together. And now I intentionally took the pain to draw it as a brain. There's no difference at this point between human intelligence and artificial intelligence, provided the proper environment of growth is given. Even take a kid, for example, apart from the genetical aspects of it and other pieces, as I mentioned, which are very important, the environment matters, yes or no? I'm blessed to talk to you all today. You know why? It's not because of smartness or some beautiful things magically happening. My family sacrificed for me. My parents are professors, economics professors, and they provided the right environment for me. They sacrificed, maybe they even pawned their house to send me here. And I'm doing okay. And the education is the best gift I personally believe you can give anybody. And they are my heroes. So my point is, it didn't magically happen. Many things matter for all of these things to come together. And this is where you all need to start making sense, not just about a report. Then you are looking something data at a silo-based angle. Many things have to come together to make sense and intelligence. Now, here is a small, very small, rough thing which I quickly put together. Let's say, for example, at this point, you take a persona, like product owner, okay? At this point in our class, we have almost automated every persona. Name a thing: OKR, KPI, feature splitting, story, acceptance criteria writing, iteration planning. Everything we have automated at this point. And using the algorithms, which is going to be the content of the course, value stream funding, capacity to demand management, prioritization, story point estimation, everything is automated because it's just a collection of data points. Now, here is an example. If there is a product owner, now we have to help each persona to do their job better. And many companies call it co-pilot. I saw some terms from you all in this piece. And everybody says, it keeps a simple thing to do my job better. And less is more in strategy. For example, if you are going to take a feature and split it into stories, and if it's going to take 5 hours of my time or 2 days, you'll be shocked, taking a feature and splitting it into stories in a real life scenario, it takes weeks for backlog refinement. Here it is done in 2 hours with human intuition. Look at the cycle time saving. It's not 1x, 2x, 3x, is 500 and 500x in terms of value add. So it suggests, and humans can augment, like it was told, and every piece of the puzzle can be done. And I will show you a few live demos. We have time. We'll do that, right? And Scrum Master will get a persona. In the heights, for example, let's take Scrum Master persona. In the heights of perfection of the job of a Scrum Master, for example, if the Scrum Master goes to Hawaii for 5 weeks, nobody should miss that person. In that case, that Scrum Master should be promoted because he did his job right. In the heights of perfection of any persona's job, less is more in strategy, and people should be focusing time in certain things which it's not there in the industry yet. Writing a story, people say a line, and writing it in the story format or writing the acceptance criteria and Gherkin syntax is all nothing, generative AI in a second, which we'll demonstrate in a second with the live explanations, right? So now you know a little bit about what is artificial intelligence. Now you do understand that without understanding data science, you can't even do nothing with artificial intelligence because you do need to appreciate the variables, yes or no? There's no way you can appreciate artificial intelligence without understanding data. Data is the new oil. Data is the new oil. But having said that, is it useful data? Is it just junk data? Data is useless. Information is powerful. And when you come to machine learning, this is where you now have to make relationship between all those parameters and see trends, patterns, clustering, classification. So for example, my son Zach started beginning to have a pattern in his mind, and in his mind that that something is happening. This is somebody I know and trust, and slowly is beginning to and I will take your guide. I'm going to teach you a couple of slides. Then I would like you all to tell me, of these 4 types of machine learning algorithms, what type of algorithm is his brain going through. And that means you're slowly beginning to understand how this various data are coming together. So there's no way you can achieve artificial intelligence without understanding data science and machine learning, the basics of it. There's no way you can do these 3 things together. Now, here is a text which you can read later, but I want to give you an example. Everywhere at the bottom, I've given an example, one example at least, of how, for supervised learnings, there are like 11 algorithms possible. Unsupervised, there are like 15 algorithms. Semi-supervised, we have, so all those algorithms and examples and hands-on experience, we will be teaching in the class. That way you know what it is. You just have to be dangerously knowledgeable. That's it. And at this point in life, people are not able to find enough data scientists in the world. And I believe in something called citizen data scientist. It's completely okay to fake it until you make it. Your brain has to believe every word you say. If you say, I don't know, then you don't know. A word coming out of our mouths are very powerful and very important. In the Bible, it is written, in the beginning, there was word, the word was God. Words are important. When you say, I know it, you will do it. If you say, I don't know it, then you don't know it. Your brain has to believe what you're saying. If you look at the example of supervised learning, let's take a child. Let me story of my son, for example. Certain things we all teach him, right? We teach him that he has to get up on time, sleep on time, and we're teaching him, right? So similarly, if you look at the Jira example, you can teach, the algorithm automatically teaches itself because we are connecting directly to Jira at this point, and everything else. Doesn't matter what tool, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Jira, Azure DevOps, or whatever your tool of choice is. It's automatically now getting supervised, and these algorithms are now beginning to do the priority. So a product owner, for example, who is trying to prioritize a backlog, at this point, the algorithm does it. So the product owner now can just validate it as opposed to spending time on prioritizing a backlog, because the model does it for you in the algorithm, directly in the tool. And a hands-on experience is what is being taught. And if you look at unsupervised learning, sometimes you don't know what you're looking for. For example, when I first came to the United States, when I was 19 years old, It was a cultural shock. I just had a suitcase and I came here. I don't know what I was signing up for. I don't know where I will stay. I don't know what I'll do. I was always, a protected person with my family. I don't know. I've never been outside. I've never took an airplane. The first time I took an airplane was when I came here. But yeah, it was a little bit painful experience to learn a lot of things. Cultural shock hits you. But then you learn. But was my dad next to me who taught me all through my life? Was he there next to me to tell you, man, don't use credit cards? Wish somebody had told me that. I would have saved a lot of money. Cash was given to me, like tons of money as soon as I landed. And what I learned, because I did not have supervised learning, is I learned what not to do. There is lot to do, what not to do. But that's what I learned, what not to do. And that's okay. But I learned. Personally, I'm happy that I learned it. Otherwise, I would not be here talking to you. So unsupervised learning algorithms does that. It clusters issues and it automatically tries to do certain things. Okay, it tries to understand the dependencies between the stories and things, and what people will manually do it tags it automatically for you in the tool. Now, semi-supervised learnings, you let them go a little bit. For example, I'm teaching my son mathematics. I let him fail a little bit. Then I teach him first a little bit. Then he watches me and then he does it. Similarly, you're training data. And all those algorithms which is directly hooked onto Jira does that. And then reinforcement learning is basically you do something good, you give a reward to your child. Oh man, you got A grade. Great job, buddy. Why don't you have an iPad? And then that's it. End of life. The next time he won't get A grade. The reward was bad. So the reinforcement learning is, it looks at multiple parameters and it automatically does iteration planning, gamification, and all those things you talk about, story points. How do you say it does a QA? Oh my God. There's like 1,000 things people ask me, which is very true. Now you don't have to worry about it because it automatically does iteration planning for you and you can validate with your team. Many people do story points. QA gives a separate story point. Developer gives a separate story point. And then you add the story points. And then the total story point always comes 95. And then you stories move from one iteration to the next iteration because it's all over the place. Now, how cool it is where it looks at all the data, what you have done, and it predicts that this is the stories that your team can realistically do with a 96% confidence. How cool is that? And the more the times of iterations goes, it becomes reinforcement learning, and that's beautiful. Now, here is a very high-level diagram, and obviously, we have I want to spend more time on taking some questions from you all. But it's obviously a little bit technical slide. That's why you need a course to learn about. See, the problem to start with is the 4 types of machine learning algorithm. It's not only these 4. Actually, there are 11 types of machine learning types, and even counting. But we need to take baby steps, right? So these are at least the top 4 more popular ones. And I have given you agile related examples for each one of them. That way, in your company, all you have to do is basically plug in. Either we're going to do it right now by ourselves, or at some point, all the companies will do it for you. I mean, if we can do it with just 3 weeks of sleepless nights, thank you to my team. Think about organizations who are building these acceleration platforms and ServiceNow, and if they're not doing it at this point, it's a sin. If we can do it and automate everything like this with the team that we have, which is rock stars, by the way, anybody can do anything. So my message for you all is, you learn this and go back to your organization and do it localized, because nobody is trusting external data at this point because of the firewall concept of governance, right? Which is coming up. I'm going to talk to you about a second. So now when there is a problem in the industry, there is an opportunity. So now you can go in and, without exposing your company's data outside, before the trust is built on exposing the algorithms and using APIs, you can, in your localized environment, just do these things and just double your value proposal and take care of your families and take care of a vacation and send the poor professor a chocolate in Thanksgiving. I'm happy. I'm good. So you need to know to use these algorithms, and that is the intent of each one of them, right? And I will let you take some questions. I know you have a lot of questions. This is a little bit a deeper slide that anything and everything, you have to make sure you choose a algorithm, or as I put in the note, it may be a combination of algorithms to do a certain thing. It's not just but I have to give you at least some sort of explanation of these algorithms, and depending upon whether you know the data or you don't know the data, or what type of data you're looking at. Is it an output, a yes or a no output, or is it a continuous range? For example, what temperature will be there tomorrow is not a yes or no question. It is a range. It can be 80 degrees, 85 degrees, 87 degrees. But the better yes or no question will be, okay, if there is a user story, is it a high, medium, low? That is not a continuous variable because it has to fall under one of these variables. It's not a so all these things you have to understand data, that way you choose the right things to control the algorithm. And you keep that. So we have developed a dashboard, as a matter of fact, in the class. There's a product, and that way with things that you are very easily available and without any big investment, or and we are giving all our hard work for you in just 2 days, and then the ball is in your court now, and then you take it and just make it appropriate for your local setting is the intent. Yeah. So again, as a very sample diagram here. So basically, the data is just a noise, right? And here in the class, we are showing you, I think we'll be showing you Jira line, and we take it from a service now, and we take it like multiple sources depending upon how much content we all cover there. But we take the real data, we give you accesses and licenses, at least during the class, to get hands-on experience. No more theory like this, right? And again, so that you get hands-on. You write, do I need to teach you to write a for loop in the class? I don't think so. Nobody knows to write that. ChatGPT gives to you. But the bigger intent is how to use those algorithms and use it in your company, and what variables do you have to control in those algorithms to get maximum value. The understanding the why behind it is more important. Otherwise, if somebody asks you, what is your education, instead of saying a bachelor's or a master's or a PhD, it's like you saying that I did pass my 2nd grade, I did pass my 3rd grade, I did pass my 4th grade. That is not the intent. Everybody understands that you will do that at this stage in our career, and this is what you're looking at. It's okay to do the right thing and use the things which are available and apply it, and that's more powerful. You don't have to go and reinvent the wheel, if that makes sense. So on the right hand side, you see a model for flow time. It is it is not decent. I purposefully took a bad model because the actual data and the model predicted data, we will be teaching you how to read these things and why is the difference here more. How do you identify the source of the variation? Why ideally the predicted and the actual model should go right on top of each other, which means that your model is super beautiful, meaning it's accurate. But if it is not, if the distance is far apart, what is the cost for it? What is the cost for the variation? How can you statistically identify that? And what should you tweak to make sure that it literally overlaps? Even if you pass 1,000 parameters, your data and statistics will tell you that, Wiselin, thank you for sending me this 1,000 variables. But you know what, man? Of the 1,000 variables, only 20 were useful statistically. The rest are all just noise. It's just noise. Please ignore it. It's just junk. And it will tell you statistically, and then you can train these models, and that's what we will be teaching you, right? Now, I'll show you a small demo, okay? Some of you from my students may already have seen it. I did speak about this in a SAFE Summit. The problem with most leaders who are, because this audience is for Agile leaders, what we do is we do start with Agile reports. We all do reports, burn up charts, burn down charts, and then we look at it. And that is 25 years old. Burn up charts, burn down charts, if we are still talking about it. Then what we do, we start doing dashboards. Okay, why don't we create one dashboard? In that one dashboard, we will put burn up chart, burn down chart, any other metric that you want. We put it as a dashboard, and that is a second level of maturity. Okay. And then the third level of maturity is then you will send that dashboard to your executives or your managers or your boss. You know what? My data shows that nobody looks into it. Nobody looks into it. The executive dashboards, people, even if they look into it, they'll bounce off that page within 10 seconds. Maybe they look at it for 2 days and they will not. So what did we do? We will say we'll do executive dashboards. Now we brand it. Why don't we add some finance angle, some key things, and we package it much more crisp for the leaders. And then slowly that also, but then slowly now we are going to chatbots. And I'm going to show you a chatbot. A chatbot is something which is, as opposed to sending a report or something to somebody, it is now a pull-based mechanism. So why can't, when I enabled the leaders to on-demand pull through an app, it was much better rather than sending them a report once a week or then slowly now it's an assistant. It's going to be a virtual assistant. And I'm going to do a demo for you at this point. Okay, I'll at least show you one demo at this point, right? So let me show it to you. So I'll show you a demo, plus I'll show you a generative AI plugin as well. That way, you do that. Let me see if it's not timed out. Let me first refresh this. Plus I'll show you a generative AI application as well. Yeah. So if you can still see my screen, let me see if it allows to. Okay, it's just refreshing. Okay. So I have a question for you, okay, while this is coming up. Let's say there is a business leader, okay, and you can put it in the chat, okay? Let's say I'm a business leader and today I want to know the status of some work. What do you think right now happens in your company? Think in your companies. What do you think happens in your company? If a leader wants to know what's going on, what will that person do? You tell me. Put it in the chat, please. Anything, what comes to your mind first? If I'm a leader, it can be your boss, it can be your VP, it can be a CEO, or it can be a business owner. He wants to know the status of something. What does he do? They send an email, very nice. What else? Let's be practical. Think about it. Okay, are we on track to meet? And yeah, they will ask somebody. Who most likely? They're going to ask somebody. The product owner maybe. Yeah, makes sense, Sunita. What else? Maybe a project manager. Maybe they'll ask a scrum master. Maybe the report, right? Now, how cool would it be if in their cell phone, okay, people are addicted to cell phone, okay? Now, you know what? Everybody's neck is inclined by 10 degrees. Do you know that? It's a true fact. For a period of time, everybody is looking at their cell phones and data shows that everybody's neck is inclined by 10 minutes. 10 inches. People are just look down. So let's say you give them an app and now you're saying, he's just rather than asking anybody, how is my maybe an art or something doing, right? Let's ask that question. Now, what is happening is, now it is going to compare all those models and algorithms, and I don't know if you can, it's big enough for you all to see. It is saying that it is 65.62. That is not a status. Why should anybody ask a status? That is reactive. Maybe you are in the third day of an iteration, and if it's saying that I'm 65.62 complete, that's reactive data. Now, this may be even the first day of your iteration, or it may be that your iteration has not even started, but it is predicting that at the end of this iteration, you will not be done. It is predicting. That is artificial intelligence. Otherwise, it's reactive data. It's predicting that, you know what, your iteration was not even, this is like you go play a soccer game, for example. You play a soccer game, and what happens in a soccer game? Even before the soccer game or the football, 49ers, I like 49ers and Steelers. Yeah, and let's say even before the match starts, it says that they are 98% chances that the 49ers is going to win. Match has not even started. It predicts, and as the match goes, it adjusts its similar prediction, but a little bit more here. Now this person is worried. So he's asking why. Okay. Now it goes to that specific iteration, and based on that persona, depending on whether it's a scrum master or a product owner or a business owner, it is giving a specific answer that this is locked because of this reason. And it's not like somebody typed in the answer, it predicts automatically, which normally, like you all mentioned, a project manager or a scrum master or a PO would have given reactively, which may take, if an email comes from a boss, everybody leaves everything and starts working on it. Have you seen that culture? Like, oh, my boss sent me an email. Drop everything right now. And I'm going to work. No, and then now, even better, what will the person next ask? What can I do? Can I help? Have you seen that question? Recommendation. Now, this model is also smart enough to say, okay, fine. You want recommendations? Fine. Do you want to change the world? It should be long term, right? I mean, you want to do a team composition change, or do you want to develop new skills, or you want something really quick that you control within the 2 weeks? What do you want? And let's say this guy is saying, you know what, I want a long-term thing beyond the 2 weeks iteration. Then it goes and looks at the various best things with the LLM models and things that we have been, and it says that certain things, and it also gives you more details. And basically now what I'm trying to demonstrate here, that going back here, the virtual assistant is nothing but an artificial intelligence for the person. And that is the level of maturity we are in here. And this is the maturity model. Now, I have a question for you all, okay? And it's completely transparent, and that will give me data points as well. Looking at this maturity level, and you're all working in multiple organizations, what level of maturity would you all be in, for example? That way we know a good set of, when we know the problem, then half the problem solved. What level of maturity you would all be in your organizations? You think so? Or a better question is, do you think that you would be, yes, I'm seeing some good answers. That's good. See, the good news is, right, if you're doing reports, that's a good start. It's a report. It's a good start, which means you're beginning to talk in terms of data by writing a JQL query or automated reports available. That's a start. But you have to build over on top of it, right? You have to build more and more on top of it. Okay. Now,
Wiselin?
Yes, please.
Yeah, Sajila here. I'm using currently to sort of come up with approaches for different transformation steps. So like there's so many different approaches to running your workshops, and each step can be run in a different way. And sometimes it's difficult to sort of go through your books and all of your notes to see what works right now. So I'm using the chatbot assistant for that particular reason, to see what works in this particular situation and getting good ideas from that as well.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. No, this is exciting. Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. No. I want to go a little bit more. I want to show you one more demo. Okay. I want to show you one more demo, and then, and then I want to talk a little bit more. So let me see if I can show you something that our team is building, which is generative. At least I want to give you one example of generative AI, right? So why don't I do that for you all? Let me see if I have it handy. Okay. So one thing that I can, what I want to show you is our team has written some beautiful apps at this point, where let's say that you want to for example work on let me see if I can quickly pull this up. Give me 1 second, guys. Why don't I show you something really cool? Yeah. So let's say it's a Jira. Okay. Let's say this is a Jira story. Yeah, I just assigned something to my team because you're working on prompt engineering. You see this story. I just put 4 bullets. It's not in the format of as I want. See, no product owner writes the acceptance criteria. I'm guilty of it too, right? I'm a product owner in my own team. But look what we did. We have generative AI plugin. What we have invented, it's right here. So the product owner, just as a product owner, I just put these 4 bullets, but then in one click, the generative AI went and wrote detailed acceptance criteria, looking at our data, test cases, test strategies, and it improvised my description from just these 4 bullets to much more detailed pieces here. Definition of the name a thing. Everything is automated at this point. And this is a plugin that we are going to release in the marketplace. You guys get to see it first. But my point is, name a thing. You can tell me anything that you are doing with an agile space. At this point, everything we have automated with algorithms, and that's what we are dealing with. Does it make sense? So if you should ask yourself a question, if Wiselin went on a self-driving car and put human lives at risk, story points estimation is nothing. Does it make sense? Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So now the last part I would like to show you, and then I will take more questions, So the point here is a course overview where we teach you hands-on on starting from chapter 1 itself. It's hands-on, right? You do data science, you learn to write a Python program, read data, and I'm not going to teach you for loops and if loops, and because that's very much given. It's more the application of it. You will be writing algorithms, you'll be automating things, you'll be talking about AI strategy. What is AI strategy? Anything can be done, but wouldn't you want to spend your time in the most critical thing for your organization first? So in the AI strategy, we teach you value stream mapping, because you need to know, okay, fine, I'm going to go back to my company after the class. Which one do I do first? Because a chain is only as strong as the weakest link. So we want to teach you a strategy and those pieces, and we teach you every element of it and all the pieces automated. Then we end the class with governance is baked into each one. And definitely right now, the biggest pain point at every organization where they want to implement is governance, for very valid reasons. Because if you don't roll it out correctly and securely, data can get exposed, and that can be a problem. And that's where most of these things, we are not even just randomly using OpenAI. We're using OpenAI API for certain things. But many things we want to teach you the algorithm yourself. That way you can do it within controlled boundaries within your organization, if that makes sense, as opposed to just calling an external API and doing it for you. So we want you to be self-sufficient in your organizations, and this will make you dangerously knowledgeable to lead any effort as it applies to these things in your organization, and it will help you to benefit from the class. Now, I would like to end with a few things. I think I did not talk about the governance slide. So governance is a very critical part. Now, if you ask me, Wiselin, there are so many things that I can learn from this, but where is my maximum value where I can add to the marketplace so that I can do well for myself? If you are doing InfoSec, it was always a good thing all through my career, because DevSecOps was my prime thing all through my life. And that security was something very critical for me. Now with AI, people cannot exist without AI, because otherwise your competitors are going to eat you alive. So now the compliance and governance within that AI is where the maximum dollars is at this point, where every company requires help. So this is where there is tons and tons, apart from understanding the data, apart from understanding the MLs, apart from implementing in your organizations. The only reason, if you are not seeing many apps in the marketplace right now, is only because, I'm telling you, is only because people are all working on governance, because it directly applies to laws in Congress and bills, security. The minute the laws and Congress bills and things are through, you will be shocked. Everybody have already implemented everything I want to teach you right now. Do you think that I'm the first one to automate all these things there? No. I'm teaching you to do it in a controlled boundaries within your company. But you will be surprised that maybe within when the governance and things and laws are taken care, it's just a matter of time when everybody will start exposing these things in apps, and it will directly be in Jira and everything or whatever it is. But then it may take months or years. People say it may take years because of the various things that you have to do in cloud-based structures that you live in. So governance and strategy is an important part, and this is only leaders like yourself can do. This is only leaders like yourself can do. That's very important. And then my call to action is as such. Okay, and this is our call to action. We all need to develop T-shaped skills, right? I am a great coach. That's a good thing to do. Yeah, there is coaching here. That's one skill. Okay, fine. And I have many people say, Wiselin, I don't want a vanilla coach. Can you now get me technical agile coaches? That's the next thing. Okay, now I'm hearing that more. Okay, fine. Now, by just doing agile, sometimes it becomes like a religion, and agile and DevOps works together. So without doing DevOps transformation, your team will feel like you're just putting a bunch of meetings on top of them. They'll be like, Wiselin, what is that you're doing? You think that by just putting meetings on my calendar with system demos or iteration reviews and stuff, I'm going to go faster? I don't even have a dev instance up and running. What's wrong with you? And without doing DevOps transformation, you can't do agile transformation. And if you can implement a OKR KPI framework in your company, and you still didn't get a great promotion, 1-800-Wiselin. I'll tell you, that is the number one place where that is the reason why the company exists. OKR and KPI framework. Otherwise, what is the reason why 50,000, 30,000 or 80,000 people working? Anything that you're doing in your company is the OKR KPI framework. You need to know that. You need to know the product domain. If you don't know the product domain, how are you going to help facilitate productivity? You cannot. You need to know the product domain. And you are all you need to know many things here. And look at the team, my team, what they have done. There is one moving piece in this whole T diagram. What is that? Anybody can say? It's one thing our team has really coolly done. What is that? Animation and stuff. Can you guys see it? No problem. I think maybe putting on the chat. Look here, it's the AIML. Look here, they have this brain spinning and all that stuff. Our team did a cool animation here. Yeah. So that has to be there in the picture. This makes it a complete person. So we all need to develop T-shaped skills, and that's a bust. Our certification, as you see here, the badges and the certifications that we provide incredibly, just like any validated certification, we didn't spare anything. We want to make sure that we do our best for the students and not teach theory. And we want to give a hands-on experience by giving access to labs, Jira Line and everything, plus teach 5 certifications in one day, which is teaching a product owner's experience, take a epic, break it into stories, story point estimation, iteration planning, OKRs, KPIs, portfolio, multiple things as much as we can within 2 days. And the goal is to start the journey and get you all started in this journey is the intent. And also because you attended this webinar, I think our team will also give you some additional coupons for registration, I guess. But the bigger thing is, I'm very excited to do this piece. It's not a myth. AI is not a myth. I think we can do very well for all of us, for our organizations, for the country, for the world, if we do responsible AI. Yeah. So I'll stop here. I have 5 more minutes. I'll take a couple of questions, and then you all know me. I think I'm, and I can, you can look me up in LinkedIn. I think I know most of you all, of my students. I can very easily recognize you. So you can always reach out to me, and we can continue the conversation. You can do white papers with me. If you're interested in looking at anything in terms of data, sometimes students come and tell me, Wiselin, mindset. I would like to change the mindset of people as an agile coach. My only question is, okay, I'm going to hire you as an agile coach for 35,000 people. You are an enterprise agile coach. Now go change the mindset of people. So my challenge for the topic will be, Wiselin was driving a self-driving car. He took his life at stake. Can you quantify culture in terms of data and improve it? At this point, anything can be converted to data. And that's important to do that. And it doesn't matter what topic, it's always data at the end of the day. Data is useless, information is powerful. My request for you all, thank you for attending this webinar. I would like to formally close this webinar, and I'll give a few minutes, but I would like to end this with a prayer for you all, that God will bless you for all the hard work that you all do. It's a Friday. I know it's your lunchtime and you sacrificed your time to get here. God bless you for all the pieces, but I'll stay back for any few questions. Thank you for attending the webinar. Thank you. Yeah, I'll take a few questions. Any questions, guys, at this point?
I have a question, Wiselin. This is Dio. I joined a little late.
No problem.
Thanks for sharing this. This is really helpful, but I'm just wondering how this also kind of integrate with other, agile project management tool other than Jira, because some organizations like where I came from, we are heavy on Microsoft, and we don't really use Jira like that. We use Azure DevOps. So how does this all, integrate with ADO?
Absolutely. See, the algorithms are what matters. Now, the input parameters we wanted to give some hands-on tools. So we selected, we are partners with all companies, but having said that, we wanted to choose Jira. So all you have to change in those algorithms is the intake variables and map it to the call. Every company exposes their variables in terms of APIs. Azure DevOps exposes, just like Jira. But in the class, we just wanted to choose at least one popular tool and go all the way through, as opposed to just teaching theory. But the algorithms are the same. So for example, the iteration planning algorithm you can implement in your organization, but instead of a Jira API, now you have to, that's why the data science of it is still valid, because you now have to map the columns, and the API will pass you all the variables, and now you have to pass the right variables in your algorithm as it applies to that. So the answer is the goal is going to teach you those pieces. That way, when you go back, that's why this is a great opportunity for you all, because there is you have to now take it to your context. But in the class, we want to give one hands-on experience. So we are choosing Jira and Jira Line. And a little bit of sense now. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I have one question. How we can apply this AI or Gen AI onto the one scenario that is very common in service industry, where they win any RFP, they go into the transition phase, okay, where they have to take the transition from incumbent vendor, and then have this phase from KA session to SS to PS, right? And then have this all transition to a place where they are considered to be a primary vendor or primary support vendor, but they need some data to quantify or the quality of the transition that they went through along with the incumbent vendor.
Absolutely, Itiraja. Nice to hear from you. And I know it's very late for you. Appreciate it. So, Itiraja, anything is possible at this point, right? Currently, I'll give you an example, which is much more cumbersome than what you said. This is about, currently, we are working with a controller of finance to do book close reports and read multiple documents to come up with synthesized pieces and automate pieces, finally, which will hit the books, and based on which it's a publicly listed company, which has to have complete traceability, auditability, after looking at multiple pieces of reports and the PDFs and things to come together, choose the best thing and come there. And that's the level of maturity we are looking at. So what you are asking for is absolutely in the right piece, because now the pieces, it has to be done in a controlled environment. And even if you're getting an RFP, now you have the data outside your company, which is like what the type of the company, or they're just making it up that they are doing these things, or they're valid. What is that? So to your point, in a vendor selection problem, if that's what you were asking for, anything and everything can be at this point done through simplified algorithms. And the advantage of Gen AI is as such, right? And text-based intelligence is the biggest, with logic built in, is the biggest benefit of Gen AI. And if we are doing it with financial statements and documents, the other rest, I believe, would be relatively easy. To answer your question, absolutely yes. And that's where I think, but if there is an open value that you're working on for a particular client or stuff, that's where we can write generic white papers, and the opportunities are plenty. So this class is to teach all those algorithms and educate the people, not only on the data science algorithms, but we're also going to teach open AI in the class. Because we'll be buying the tokens for you for the class, and you'll be calling those OpenAI APIs to write generative AI, like I showed you in the Jira, where it synthesizes the stories and stuff as it applies to Agile though. But we'll be giving you hands-on experience on calling those APIs, using those tokens, and we'll be recording videos on how you can go after the class and buy those tokens yourself and everything. That way you can maximize the value.
Thank you.
I think I gave a longer answer, but all I'm saying is it's very doable, because if a self-driving car can go and I can put my life, 4 lives on a self-driving car, procurement vendor selection is a given. Go ahead, Dominic.
Okay, hi, Wiselin. Thank you for this opportunity. I have a couple of questions. What kind of support will one get after the 2 days class? Because it is like so much put together in one place for 2 days. So after the section, what kind of support was one going to get? And another my question is, what is going to be the new nomenclature for one in the market with this acquired certification?
See, now any certification is useful only way you market it. Meaning, I have a PhD, but who cares? It's about what do I do with the PhD and how do I market myself with it. Obviously, we invested in Credly, which is the best badging system in the world at this point with the branding angle. That's what Scaled Agile uses for issuing their badges. So the badges that you're getting are directly from Credly, which is the best in the industry for certificates and badge validation from our side, which we control. Now, as it applies to the after the class support, as you know, right, everything is available right in the world. But now from a class angle, we are the theme that we are doing for our course itself is an hands-on exercise on something called a mentor-mentee program that we are rolling out. That is a complete non-profit initiative that we are rolling out. We kicked it off last month and it will soon go live right up because we are ramping up this course and everything. That's why, that got a little bit delayed. So our goal is to connect people who are similar minded. Can, for example, Wiselin be as an individual available for like 3,000 people? Maybe not. But the good news is you are going to be having access to our team, our people, and similar people like yourself who can help each other and do that. But having said that, the best way that you can directly work with me is to write papers. And that's where the hard work comes. And I'll always make time. And anybody here can, if you are my alumni, you can say that there was no email not answered. So now when you write a paper, now the ball is a little bit more in your court, where there's a little bit of hard work from your side. For example, today morning I woke up at 1:30 a.m. And it takes some extra effort to get that extra level, but I'll always be there. But to answer your question, will there be support after the class from my side? Yes, provided you work with me on a paper and stuff. But the theme is to connect similar people together, that way we all can work together and scale. Otherwise, I'll become the bottleneck. But the best way where we all can work together personally is you take a particular topic and go deeper along with me, and you take the heavy lifting, and that will help our common cause. And we can present that paper in journals and symposiums and conferences, which I have a lot of access to. Is that help?
Yes. So invariably, so after this training and with a lot of hard work, one can comfortably looking for, if they say, okay, I'm looking for AI product owner, so you can do that, right?
Absolutely. So what you should also, in the class, what we'll also can briefly tell you, what do you do to market yourself, right? Because you may be the best, smartest person, but if the world does not know that, then that's no point, right? So your LinkedIn should reflect that. Your digital assets should reflect that. From our side, we are giving you the badge, which is Credly verified, which is the best in the world at this point in terms of branding. So now you have to, put yourself, because the whole point is to create value. So you should be marketing yourself in such. For example, our team gives you a platform to do webinars. And this webinar has access to the whole Scaled Agile community. We record a YouTube video and put it. So you can do a webinar for yourself. To simply answer your question, with a little bit of hard work, a little bit of dedication, and a little bit of prayer, you can rock the world. Yes.
Thank you.
Wesleyan, hi, this is Clem Garcia.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to make sure heads up for everyone here. This topic is really important. The recent ruling from the Security Exchange Commission on 10K filing is mandated in order to establish compliance to cybersecurity processes and procedures that are now auditable by the federal government. This is a response from the Department of Homeland Security on matters concerning the cyber warfare that the United States is now engaged in, and the non-compliance of corporations who have not maintained compliance to privacy laws. So I'll get a link to you soon enough, but it's important to note that what you've presented here acknowledges a method and means by which maybe the audit trails that when the marshals arrive, actual federal marshals with badges that arrive, in order to determine, are you resilient enough to resist an attack? So that just came out. September 5th was the due date. There's an extension till December, so that now the 10Ks that are being filed, quarterly reports, have to establish compliance. So
Absolutely.
that's what you got.
100%. Yeah, Dr. Clement is absolutely right. He has been, provided me with a bunch of assets way back in 6 years. I still use it. What he has provided me during my DevSecOps journey. The compliance pillar is a must. As I said, that requires leadership. Folks like yourself in this audience who can add value. That is the only reason where many things have not come out in many marketplaces, and that's what everybody is trying to dot the I's and cross the T's. And that's where some of the algorithms that we do are contained within the firewalls of the company, that we are not calling anything external. And that's very important because the data, the minute you copy paste certain things and ask ChatGPT or something, basically, I don't know if you all read the governance policies of ChatGPT and other things, you should read it. You may expose data unknowingly, and that's a problem. That's why we are very teaching you the fundamental pieces to be self-contained within the piece and things that you have to watch out for. Otherwise, you'll be exposing data. Very important what he said. All right. Cool, guys. I know we are 10 minutes over, and I'm sure you'll have tons of questions. But I would like to thank you all. God bless you all for attending the webinar. I really appreciate the time on a Friday. And looking forward to working with you all. God bless you all. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, team, for making this happen as well. I really appreciate all your.
Thank you for sharing.
everybody. Bye-bye. God bless you all. Bye.